Mahama Wakano, and Yaboshe. As soon as some Wakano. Bring the policies. And let me declare what so all the TV stations in also say. We are going to force Mahama to do a year debate. We are going to force him. He has no way to run. Ultimately run. But be over for BIA the Bawumia run. It's about the policies. And we are seeing in our thing and COVID and the Ukraine war. And no near the buyer. You're sorry, you're not bad. You're sorry, you're not bad. And no COVID and abano. I feel do baby, yes, I saw a cry me and co. A year may and co. Who's your doffo cry a year? Sabe, I was so deep, be boa no. I catawano at a sabe. First, you don't say the Biabu, Biano, our Hana and Kraman, you that's a horse. What you say? But, say, I am buy and a farabino. I say, Psycho Obiabo Wawahai, Kenyan could be a gunny. Could be a gunny, a San Santi. I man another Danqua Kufuado. I can say, when you inquire about to me, I first watch say economy, no. I say economy, no. Name see a Jenny Panquadi, Unimuye. It will be a tax bill, but Sabrina, I want to say, the Gusu Tia will be a cat, Sabrina Prano, I feel a near fat nurses for near teacher for more. Sabrina, I feel a near recruit to a month for police in India Manina. Now, so you go swat. Your tria will be a cat. Sabrano, not a you a hole. A friend say, Sabra Minoka say, none that's in training, and then that's teacher.
And so pleased to join you. And you know, on the plane down here, Senator Warnock and I were talking about this. Don't know if y'all heard about it, but apparently Donald Trump is too scared to debate the vice president. Too scared. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this from back in 2020, but I know about having an opponent who's too scared to debate. And let me tell you, Atlanta, the candidate dodging debates is the candidate who is losing.
Okay, I try not to talk in absolutes, but I can say with absolute certainty that there is quite literally nothing Donald Trump hates more than a capacity arena of 10,000 people chanting the words, too scared, too scared, too scared about him. For someone like Donald Trump, who lives, eats, breathes, and sleeps an insatiable desire to be loved by audiences, to see a max capacity arena outright challenge his manhood, his toughness, the one thing he truly cares about, must absolutely destroy him. And yet, what can I say? He brought it on himself. And let's be clear, Kamala knows full well that this is a devastating blow to Trump's ego, which is why she took the opportunity to call Trump out for being too scared to debate during the rally itself.
So the momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it. You may have noticed. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. Here's the funny thing about that. So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. Don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? consider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
Okay, let's be clear here. That is nightmare fuel for Donald Trump. It would be bad enough that 10,000 people are mocking him relentlessly, but for Kamala Harris, a black woman, to so effectively destroy Donald Trump, a racist man, is just peak poetic justice. I used to think the fact that Joe Biden beating Donald Trump in the election was the worst thing that could happen to him because he spent so long mocking Joe as being in the throes of cognitive decline. So to lose to someone in the throes of cognitive decline then is especially embarrassing. But this is worse because Trump has a long history of being a racist, a misogynist, a bigot, and a pig. So to watch a powerful black woman turn him into an absolute punchline must be what hell on earth looks like for Donald Trump. As far as the debate is concerned, one of two things will happen here. Either Trump will refuse to show up, which is certainly likely, and then Kamala will have the same optics that Jon Ossoff had when his opponent, David Perdue, refused to show up back in 2020. And something tells me that this right here isn't exactly the lasting image that Donald Trump wants heading into November.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Russ Spencer, evening anchor for Fox 5 in Atlanta, and you are watching the Atlanta Press Club Loudermilk Young debate series. We are broadcasting from the studio of Georgia Public Broadcasting in Atlanta, and we welcome viewers from across the state and the country. This is the runoff debate for the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Senator David Perdue of Georgia. The candidates are, in alphabetical order, Democrat Jon Ossoff. He is CEO of Insight TWI, a media production company that investigates corruption, organized crime, and war crimes for international news organizations. Republican David Perdue has served in the U.S. Senate since 2015. Before his election, he sat on the board of 5 major corporations and co-founded Perdue Partners, a global trading company. Senator Perdue declined to participate in this debate and is represented by an empty podium.
And of course, worth noting that David Perdue is now a private citizen and Jon Ossoff is a U.S. Senator. But the flip side is that Trump does show up, which, to be clear, would also be pretty devastating considering, well, Kamala's made their 2 positions abundantly clear.
As many of you know, before I was elected vice president and before I was elected a United States Senator, I was an elected Attorney General and an elected District Attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who ripped off consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
In other words, at this point, it really is a lose-lose for Donald. Either he shows up and embarrasses himself on stage, or he refuses to show up and, well, continues to embarrass himself off stage. Guess this is what happens when you get yourself in a situation where there's no way to hide your incompetence, huh? In the meantime, the drip, drip, drip of Trump taking incoming humiliation will continue to haunt him on a daily basis, and will continue to remind the American people that even on the one thing Trump considers his virtue, which is his strength, his perceived toughness, it was all a sham. Just an empty shell, a glossy veneer with nothing underneath. And he was able to keep up the farce when the media was solely focused on Biden's age, but now that it's Kamala in the race and age is no longer an issue, but rather the issues are the issue, suddenly Trump isn't able to skirt reality anymore. Suddenly it's him who's under the hot glare of white lights, and when all eyes are on him to back up his tough talk, what does he do? This.
I want to do a debate, but I also can say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
And why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything.
Right, they already know everything about both candidates, so clearly there's no need to debate. Unlike Joe Biden, the sitting president of the United States, who clearly no one in this country knew, right? And that's why he did not just one, but an open invitation for as many debates as Biden wanted to do. Because again, certainly no one knew the sitting president of the US. Got it. So look, as long as Donald Trump wants to run, just know that I and Kamala and the rest of this country will never let him get away with it, because it's him who spent the better part of a decade beating his chest as a tough guy. So now comes the chance to actually prove it. He made toughness a central part of his campaign on his own, by his own conscious decision. Now he'll actually have the chance to back it up or concede that his candidacy is nothing more than a house of cards, and it's crumbling to the ground before our very eyes. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more.